What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Sunday, February 13th. Now, during this past week, I've covered a bunch of different things. One of the things that I've covered were new stimulus checks coming out to multiple states. We also addressed the Russia invasion news, and I got more updates on that today because we are coming down to the wire very soon. We also have a major stock market update as well. Something could happen on a specific day this week that ties the stock market, the Federal Reserve, and Russia all together. Now, this is potentially going to be very harmful to many investors. So, if you are investing, make sure you stick around for this update as well. But let's get into where we could potentially see more stimulus checks and why. Because last week I announced how many states were giving stimulus checks. We learned that California was expected to provide an additional Golden State stimulus. It's likely going to be for about $1,100 each. We know in Indiana, residents will be getting an additional $125 back as a tax refund. In Florida, they're still planning on sending out $1,000 stimulus bonuses to teachers to keep them employed, but also keep them on as a teacher. In New York State, we're seeing that they plan on sending undocumented workers a stimulus payment if they have yet to receive one in the past. Now, there's another state that we can add to this list because on Thursday, Maine's governor announced that they want to provide and use about half of the state's $822 million budget towards stimulus checks. They're going to allocate $411 million towards these checks, and these will be for $500 each. Now, out of the 1.4 million Mainers that live in Maine, we're going to see about 800,000 people receive this check. That's a pretty substantial number. But here's what you need to understand. So the governor's supplemental budget should be released on Tuesday. So on Tuesday or Wednesday, we should have more information on these specific stimulus checks. But again, the reason why I continue to bring up different states, what they're proposing, their ideas, is actually pretty simple. It's because right now states are going to have a surplus of money. Multiple state officials believe that if the surplus of money is pretty much a direct result of taxes coming from the American people, then we should send that money back to the people. The fastest way to accomplish this is through a stimulus check. Now, does that mean every state is going to do another stimulus payment? No. But is that going to be the best way to get the money back into the American people's hands the quickest? Yes. So it just depends on your specific state. But keep this in mind. These are state-funded stimulus checks. These aren't from the federal government. And at this time, any additional stimulus from the federal government is almost not going to happen. Okay? So it's almost a certainty that we will not see any additional funding from the federal government. Not at this point, with inflation being where it is. And right now, with inflation being everywhere, Americans can't avoid it. No matter what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're seeing, everybody is seeing that the price of goods is rising. The prices of services are going up. And this is causing Americans we can't save as much, we're saving less, we're investing less, paying down debt at a slower rate, buying items at a slower pace. And this could actually lead to more financial issues. Currently, we are seeing a wave of bankruptcies and foreclosures that are starting to build. Granted, foreclosures are still well under the rate that we saw before the pandemic, but they are starting to climb. And experts worry that as foreclosures start to climb, what happens is the foreclosures increase, right? We get more and more foreclosures. It puts more pressure on banks and the banking system. It now means most likely the people that were working, chances are they are not working anymore. So that means we're seeing more businesses go under, and a lot of it's due to lack of workers or the limited amount of supply. So a supply chain issue leads to more worker shortages, which could lead to foreclosures and also bankruptcies. Huge issues. And in regards to inflation, we are seeing prices rise by different amounts at completely different times in different areas. And so this no rhyme or reason approach is really throwing consumers for a loop because nobody knows what to expect. But government officials believe that they will have this under control by the end of the year. As for me personally, I'm not so sure they will. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think the Federal Reserve has inflation under control? Let me know down in the comments. Now, here's what we know regarding the situation up in Canada. What we know is that the Canadian police at this point are beginning to arrest protesters who remain at the US-Canada bridge. Now, this bridge accounts for between 20 to 25% of the goods that come into the United States. So it's a very important bridge. So opening this bridge will help our supply chain issues. But here's the problem. The problem right now is that this started out as a very peaceful protest. And experts worry that arresting those that are still protesting will only provoke others. And here's what we are seeing as of right now. There are still reports from the Department of Homeland Security that we will see a trucker protest down in California for the Super Bowl. Whether this happens or not, we don't know, but that is still the report. So it will be interesting to see what happens today because the Super Bowl is today. So let me know. Also, are you guys going to be watching the Super Bowl? And if you are you going for a specific team or do you just watch it because that's what you do every single year? Let me know. Curious. But on more international news, multiple media outlets are stating that the buildup of forces and the way military equipment has been maneuvered, things look like they will be taking place very soon in Ukraine. Yesterday, CBS News stated that in a recent briefing that Russia plans on invading Ukraine on February 16th. That's this Wednesday. Here's what I can tell you. As an investor, looking at the stock market, one of the things I can tell you is this Wednesday was seen as one of those days where it's like, okay, what's Jerome Powell going to say? So if Russia decides to invade Ukraine on the 16th, we will see the stock market go down. Jerome Powell is expected to speak, which anytime he talks, the stock market goes down. What we could potentially see, just to give you an idea, this could seriously cause the stock market into a deep dive, but we'll see. We will see if this actually happens because things are coming down to the wire. What we do know is that sometime today, it could have already happened. I do not know as of right now. Haven't seen any reports, but today, President Biden and Ukraine's Zelensky will speak sometime. We also know that the German Chancellor Scholz plans to travel to Kiev and Moscow to hopefully prevent this attack. I don't know if this is going to be successful. I don't know what's going to happen here. But what I can tell you is, honestly, I am somewhat worried. I am honestly worried what happens to our stock market on Wednesday. Because it could be bad. If Russia invades Ukraine on Wednesday, we could see the markets completely plummet. Not just Wednesday, maybe Thursday and Friday as well. If this happens, and this is something that we've seen over the past about a month or so, is that we could see the wealth that millions of Americans accrued over the past 2 years. We could see all that wealth completely get wiped away. So then what happens? Let me just give you an idea, paint this picture. Right now, millions of Americans are looking at their portfolios, right? Their real estate investments, their home, getting a second mortgage, doing a HELOC, okay? A home equity line of credit, taking equity out of their home in some way. Maybe they're just refinancing, do a cash out refinance, we don't know. But they're taking money out of their homes and their investments and out of their portfolio, out of their wealth, which is fairly high. They're taking money out to pay for renovations and vacations and new cars and all these different things. What happens when what they bought it for and all the profits that they had, their unrealized gains, it starts coming down, which it already has. They tapped into that fund and it came down a little bit more. What happens when we see a plummet in the stock market and things go under, or people are now negative? Do they sell? Do they prevent? Do they stop a home renovation? Do they cancel a trip? This is what we could be seeing. Again, I don't know for sure. What I can tell you though is I am fearful that something like this happens, because if it does, we will see an economic slowdown, and chances are we will be in a recession very, very soon. So that's what we know at this time. There is some good news that yes, people in Maine should be getting a $500 stimulus check. Other states will be following very soon on this exact same trend, which is great. But the news in Russia, not good. The stock market update, again, Wednesday is going to be a very big day. So as we get more information on that, I promise I will fill you in on those updates as soon as we get them. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.